Prisons to Partnerships welcomes individuals and groups to share ideas and resources and make connections that foster a community committed to transforming the narrative around incarceration and reentry for individuals, families, and organizations. And every year we put on a conference in November, and we just completed it. And the title of it was A Time for New Thinking, New Energy, and New Action. And it is being uploaded to YouTube, I think, as we speak. Mark can speak to that, but it should be up and not today, tomorrow, and accessible from our website, I do believe. So just welcome. And as Lamar speaks, and Mark, who's going to be introducing Lamar? As Lamar speaks, think of questions that you may have or concerns, or how can we address what he's speaking about, or whatever comes up for you. And there will be a question and answer period afterwards. Mr. Mark, would you like to please take it away?
I would. Thank you, Kent. And as Kent mentioned, we have the yearly conference, which we just had, and we also have monthly community gatherings, which is what you're attending. If you want to know more about us and our schedule, I put in the chat a link to register for our mailing list. Please do that so that you find out when we have these monthly gatherings. As far as Lamar spoke up. He was not a speaker at the conference, but he was an attendee and spoke up with a ton of wonderful questions. And I found him very inspiring, so I reached out to get him to, I hope, join our group, but to speak tonight on what he's up to in our world. And Lamar, thank you for saying yes, and thank you for being here, and thank you for being who you are.
Well, thank you. And that's see what happens when you talk too much and then people are paying attention and then you end up getting tapped to like, you know, be a speaker. Like I don't do that. I do talk a lot though. And I am a professional speaker and I'm hoping that I don't let myself down tonight. I'm not wanting to impress. I'm wanting to share the cause for what it is that I'm committed to accomplishing in my world and of contribution in this field of transformation of life for those who, in my experience, most of the world could not care less about. Out of sight, out of mind, locked up. Don't ever let them out, so they'll never be a threat to me or mine, which was my attitude. That was before my firstborn son was arrested for killing a 16-year-old and was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. And that changed my whole perspective on everything that this was all about. So it's amazing how what happens, what occurs in life can completely shift our priorities. Yes. So, and you may have yourself, each of you, cause for what your interest and commitment may be, whether it's in forensics. And I'm thinking what Casey was over here introducing herself a bit and for what her interest was. Why am I here? I don't really know, except I try to put him in jail. She's saying no. But all different perspectives. I've worked with law enforcement. I've worked with the correctional officers, conflict resolution, how to establish rapport, defuse volatile situations. And so what I've learned over the years, not only through my participation, completing the entire curriculum with Landmark Education, and being careful to never steal proprietary intellectual material, I find source resources such as in the field of narrative therapy, in which I have a graduate certificate, or in cognitive behavioral therapy, REBT, and so many other different sources, linguistics, language skills, language arts, interpersonal skills, advanced communication skills, in all of these areas that I could draw upon to then develop content that's effective in delivery for the impact it has on those lives of people who never were exposed to even knowing how they worked, how their mind works, how they engage in surviving in life rather, in reacting to everything rather than creating what it is that they're intending to accomplish rather than surviving from moment to moment in whatever circumstances arise. Like conditioning because of what I'm thinking and believe to be true. So I believe it's true. And if whatever I'm thinking, it's always consistent with what I believe to be true because I thought of it. It must be the truth. I made it up. It must be true. And we all do that. We know. But we're not responsible for it, are we? And so I go into great depth in what I've developed as content and then deliver in such a way that is experiential and interactive and engaging activities, paired sharing, practicing listening skills beyond how people typically listen. I understand. No, you don't. Or, well, prove it. Well, what did you hear me say? Well, they got no answer for that because nobody's really listening. We're listening to ourselves talk about what other people are saying and what we think it means, right? Unless we've really disciplined ourselves to listen in a way that's truly has others experience being heard and having a voice, feeling validated and important, even if their face is all covered up with tattoos and they look like the devil, they could attack you. Still, human being, looking in the eyes. How can we manage what we're thinking within what we are experiencing about whomever we're confronting? Doesn't matter whether it's a spouse or if it's someone who disses you, someone who in prison, or someone who challenges you on the sidewalk or wherever you might be. In a bar. Well, officer, don't arrest me. I beat him up because he talked about my mama. I told him, stop talking about my mama that way. I'll take you outside. And so that's why I took him outside. I beat him up. Don't arrest me, arrest him. He made me mad talking about my mama like that. So we tend to we react, don't we, to whatever it is that's occurring in life rather than experiencing ourselves being really at the source of and cause and whatever action we're taking and then responsible or not. We're also accepting the consequences for the choices that we've made, for acting how we did and justifying it by blaming or faulting the circumstances, other people. So I explore all of these areas. First of all, a little bit about my history and what it was that had happened that first inspired me to want to question and challenge my own thinking and beliefs about what should happen to people who commit crimes, and that they should all be locked up forever and never let them out so they'll never be a threat to me or mine. So let me share a bit of the story and background. I'm going to share a video. This is from ABC Channel 7 News in Sarasota, Florida. This was back in 2006 when this was recorded, and it was aired on the 6 o'clock and in the 11 o'clock news, interviewing me about what had occurred with my son. So I've got the sound option clicked there, Mark. It should be working. I'm going to share it now. Here we go. And I'm going to start the video.
Father of a Sarasota County boy knows about teenage violence. His son was just 14 years old when he was sentenced for beating another teenager to death with a baseball bat. Dominic Culpepper is serving life in prison without parole for killing 16-year-old Wesley McCool. His father decided to dedicate his life to helping his son and other inmates. He says his work is also to make up for the life lost.
For having all of that not have happened in vain. That the loss of a life of a young man, of Wesley McCool, would not have been for nothing. And that good can come of that. It can come of anything. If we give our lives to that and are committed to causing what can make a difference.
Lamar Culpepper is writing a book about their experience. It is called The Father of My Son.
Okay, I stopped to share myself there, Mark. So oh, be quiet. Hold on. Just a second. I'm getting the YouTube, the YouTube advertisement that comes right after the video. Let me turn that off. Oh, good grief. I wish I knew how to, maybe Mark can tell me how I can make it stop automatically playing the next advertisement after the video plays. But anyway, I haven't found those controls yet. So you see something about what I experienced. And if it hadn't been for that having happened, I never would be doing what I'm doing now. It's not in spite of what happened that I created something, it's because of it. I see in an opportunity for what I never would have been had any interest before, wanting to create and contribute what makes the difference for those who have been impacted by the violence, the crimes committed, what people have endured because of others' actions. But how do we restore that? So it was interesting because I was later met Maheen Bina. You all know who Maheen Bina is? Anybody not know who Maheen Bina is? End Violence Project. It's now yes, up in Philadelphia, and I assisted her in rewriting the manual and updating it and making improvements to it. I don't get any credit for it, but I'll brag about it now but I was the Southeast Regional Director for that in this part of the country where I live, north of Charlotte, North Carolina. And so I had the opportunity to train trainers, the seminar leaders, and to oversee the delivery of the program over the 6 months that it was delivered, both in Lottie, Florida, and at Hancock State Prison in Sparta, Georgia, and Metro State Women's Prison in Atlanta. It's in Nashville, and can't remember anywhere else right now. But that's what opened up for me. And then because of that, I became aware of restorative justice, as was developed originally and implemented by Mennonites in northern the upper Midwest and in southern Canada. Became familiar with, acquainted with, and communicated with Dr. Howard Zarrett, Western Mennonite University, implemented one of the pioneers in developing real restorative justice, and others in Australia. And so it was fascinating what was beginning to open up. And then I saw the opportunity to enroll in the Masters of Science program at the International Institute for Restorative Practices in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. And I acquired my Master's of Science there and a great deal of other related coursework and knowledge in respect of life skills, communication skills, as well as conflict resolution, peace circles, negotiating agreements to resolve differences of conflict with whomever, wherever, in the home, in the neighborhood, in the jail, wherever it might be, how to engage in implementing in practice the communication and interpersonal skills necessary to create agreements, and then to have integrity with those agreements, support each other for being accountable for what we've agreed, not for who's in control and who's right and who's wrong and who's good or who's bad, but rather be respect for the relationships that we can create and have restored and be effective, which is needed not only in jails or prisons, but at home. So wherever human beings might happen to gather, it's important, right, to be able to engage in respectfully crafting agreements that we support, that has society be civil, or marriages even, or how the men and the women are getting along with each other or not in the jail, in the pod, in the cell block. And so then I acquired my Master's of Science, and much of what I developed in knowledge and skill, I implemented through the content that I've developed in the program that is eight sessions, or it can be 8 hours in a one day. I can modify it so that it can all be delivered either over 8 weeks or all day. I've spoken at this, Emmanuel Women's Facility, which is a medium security women's prison in Swainsboro, Georgia. 3 days, 8-hour days, covered everything. And what's amazing about that was what occurred as a result. I never would have known, but it validates everything for me. I'm on the train from North Spring Station when I lived up near Alpharetta and heading to the airport to fly out to speak somewhere. And I'm approaching, it's like the second to the last stop. I think it's college, whatever, station maybe. No, that's in Texas. Getting my geography all mixed up. But it was this young woman gets on the train. She's about 30 something. And she sees me standing up there. I got my rollerboard and ready to head to the airport, go through security. And she walks up to me. She says, "Mr. Culpepper." I said, "Yes." She said, "Do you remember me?" I said, "No, you look familiar though." Because I've thousands of people. I've spoken for some 18,000 people or 20,000 people in the past 18 years, all over the country, right? And she says, "I was at Emmanuel, the women's prison, when you were there 6 months ago. And I was mad because I was sitting in the back. The warden made me attend. His mandatory attendance for all of the they said inmates in those days, the incarcerated women. Okay, so I understand language. Sometimes I speak the language that people commonly speak. And to be respectful, I'll change it. At the same time, she said, I didn't want to be there because the warden made all of us inmates, she said, to use her own language, to have to be there. And I was missing my story. And I was mad. I had my earphones and I was listening to music. And then my bunkie, she elbows me and she says, "You need to listen to this. This is fast. I've never heard anything like this before." So I started listening. And at the first break, I moved up to the front row. I was in the front of the room, right in front of you. And I want you to know that what I heard made all the difference in the world. You said that when we get out, that no one would want to give us a job. No one would want to rent a room or lease property because we were ex-felons. And I said, I remembered what you told us, that no matter what the response, no matter what the circumstances, you keep creating and you communicate what your commitments are, who you are, acknowledging what it was that you had done, not making excuses for it, owning it and acknowledging what you had done and what you'd learned and what you're committed to creating of your life in the future. And I did that. And I want you to know that people listened. And I'm on my way to the airport to my job at the airport. And I've got a place to live. And I can't thank you enough for what you provided. That I didn't give her anything other than engaging in conversation that shifted her entire perspective of herself and what was possible for her in a future that she can create. And I get this a lot. I go and sit down in a jail and I'm talking with people and other people are listening. And it's like, I've never heard anything like this before. I mean, this guy, he's not like some of these preachers. They sit up in the corner, they preach, and he sits there and has conversations and like he really cares about us. And next thing I know, they're coming around and sitting at the table with me. They want to share. They want to talk about their life and what they're confronting, what they're dealing with. So that has been validation for me that when I've given my life and commitment to that of what makes that difference for the other people in their lives, for whom no one else cares, or very few, and who for themselves experience having no hope, no potential for their future, just doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting different results, which isn't something that Einstein said. Do the research, right? It was a 12-step program participant in Knoxville, Tennessee, back in the 90s. And it got recorded anonymously, of course, because you know what said in a 12-step program, it stays there. So there was no quotation of who said what, but that's where it came from. It was so profound. It's been attributed to Einstein. Someday, maybe something I've said may be attributed to Einstein, but you'll know better. So, so that was, that is about the inspiration that I have for what I get to do. And I'll say a little bit more in the time I will have after two more short videos about some of the format of the, well, I mentioned the format. I have it 8 sections, and I can deliver it as 90 to 2-hour segments, or I can do an entire day. And it involves a great deal of engaging and interactive experiential activities, as well as paired sharing and interaction, so that people are in the experience of the practice and not just talking about it and then going on. Because how many times do we like riding the bicycle? You don't watch the video, right? And then we go get on the bicycle. Voila, I'm a Lance Armstrong, like championship bike racer. No, I didn't see the video. I had to get on it. I had to practice it. So we do the same things. And so I'm going to share another video with you. This one is Fox Carolina 21 newscast. It was aired at Greenville, North Carolina, following the delivery of the program in Lawrence County. So let me share this one with you as well. I know I got Mark there backing me up. Should be working. Here we go.
Good morning.
Inside the Eugene Johnson Detention Center in Lawrence County, past the barbed wire and locked doors, are individual stories like Teresa Cloud's.
I've been through this more than once, and I'm tired of making the same mistakes, and I'm tired of making the same stupid choices.
She's in jail on a bench warrant for a driving under suspension charge. Teresa joined 18 other women who filed into this little room at the jail, hoping to turn their lives around.
To us, you're not inmates, and you're not bad people. You are women who are right here, right now, for whatever reason.
Wendy Lippard and Lamar Culpepper are professional trainers. They hold seminars like this one called Freedom at the Wall, The Power of Choice. It's all about decision making, creative thinking, and changing habits.
We do what we already know to do because it's familiar.
Yeah.
We do the same thing over and over all the time.
And they know the impact of crime firsthand. Lamar's son is in prison for murder. Wendy is a crime victim herself.
Without tools, many of them unfortunately come back. And so we want to give them tools where they can get out and be successful, not just for them and their lives, but for all of society.
We've had inmates who were completely uninterested in being in the room and being in the back of the room. And then by the end of the seminar, they were in the front of the room. And like, I never realized this about myself. I didn't realize I had access to being able to live my life this way. I didn't realize that I could be responsible for myself and be free.
And Sheriff Ricky Chastain, who brought the program to the jail, says ones like this don't just benefit the inmates, they're important to all of us.
To give them some hope or, another clearer path that they might want to travel when they get out and become a productive member of our society versus, returning back in.
Something Teresa Cloud wants to change in her own life.
And right now, my choice and decision is to move forward in life and not allow my bad choices to keep me from moving forward. No matter what nobody else say about Teresa, I believe in myself.
What we already know to do because it's familiar.
Okay, stop that.
If you have,
Did y'all get to see some of that commercial? I don't know, but can you hear me? I think I've got my mic turned off. Nope, it's on. That was the last time. I thought I'd forgotten to turn it back. It's on. All right, good. So did you notice I had more hair in those days? And it wasn't all white like this. So that's been many years ago. and the engagement is phenomenal. And Wendy and I co-led the program many times. And what I'm intending in the future for the format of this program is to develop teams of people. Could be 4 to 5 people. So there's continuity. And 8 weeks is much easier to sustain than 6 months for people coming and going and losing interest or maybe moving or having to take a new job and now they're unavailable and the schedules change. So having people well developed in being able to deliver the content, implement the program effectively to be successful is what I'm looking at creating. And I had never created before a nonprofit just for this Freedom at the Wall. So I'm working with others who are knowledgeable and can provide support and assistance in, because I'm a writer. I write policies and procedures. Like I could write this, just give me an example and I'll write it so it works for what the needing for this to be successful. So that's my intention for moving forward and creating teams of people near prisons, wherever they may be, in whatever state. We're working first with North Carolina because I have to incorporate the 501c3 in North Carolina, and then whatever is possible for expansion. I will be working on that as well. And so that's the future of the program. And one other video I want to show here, and then just a few points on some of the content and how it's delivered through what effective interactions or engagements with people. Give you some idea, a taste of some of the content. So let me share this this last video. This one is it's a video composition created in a PowerPoint presentation with the timings. So this is it's about Freedom at the Wall and the power of choice itself. Here we go. Oh, we gotta click start. That'll help.
There's no audio to it?
Yeah, it does. It's coming up now. There we go.
Just going out and maybe houses and you know, for my paycheck each week.
And actually, I do want to say, although we are professional seminar leaders,
every
looking at other areas of your life and
Right.
bringing what you got out of the program to all areas of life, including the spirituality.
So it sounds like you're really choosing your responses and your actions inside of what you truly want for your life and what you're committed to.
And I'm trying to, you know, get whenever I do get released, maybe join the military or something like that. And then try to get my GED and stuff.
somebody you care about.
It is. That's exactly what I wanted to say, but I couldn't get the words. It's better. Things are going so much good for us in here now, and it's better out there too. Just like you said, behind the wall and outside the wall. Her telling me about her like her old boyfriends and stuff, and want me to understand. I just try to listen to her and try to understand it better now. Before I speak now, I think about what I say and what she said before I talk about it.
She feels for you.
And you know, I've noticed this too, bringing that out. She wants to tell me more stuff now. So that's, I mean, it's wonderful. I don't know, what me and her, all of her life, we ain't never talked like we do now. And it's got to be grateful for her. I mean, she's a teenager. You know how hard it is for I've been in here for 9 months now, and for the first 7, she didn't say I loved you or nothing. She was mad at me. But the last couple of months, she's been telling me I love you, Daddy, before we hang up the phone. And usually, we get on the phone, she'd be wanting to get right off. Now she wants to have a conversation with me. And that's I can't thank y'all enough for bringing that part, you know, to me. I mean, that's a gift that you guys gave me. Just let me talk to my daughter like that now and listening to her. I appreciate that. I wanted to start listening to her, and I told her that right after the class. I believe it was the next day. I told her I was going to start changing and listening to what she had to say. And now it's so much better. And I thank y'all for that. Like I was saying a while ago, it seems like the group that went to the class, I don't want to say we set to the side or something, but it seems like we're more laid back now. We don't try to up and, raise all kind of cane and stuff like that. And the guys that didn't go to the group, you can just sit back and watch, and they still loud and stuff. It's just, you have to see it to believe, to hear what I'm saying.
It really did. It killed me when because I didn't talk to him so long. Baby. No, God, here we go again.
Well, I want to thank you.
I think the program is very beneficial and has been beneficial for us so far. Just the fact of the inmates understanding they can make a difference in their own life, but also to be able to be housed together. They understand that they've got some temperamental issues that has to be addressed, and then they can address those issues in a more productive manner instead of in a emotional outrage or something of that nature. So it has definitely been a big benefit for us, both on the male pod as well as the female pod.
No matter what the statistics say, that when someone is committed to transforming themselves in their lives, and that commitment comes face to face with a powerful, effective program, that anything is possible.
Absolutely.
Yes, well, I get emotional every time I see that again. Hold on, he's talking again. There, he can be quiet now. Okay, so that was an advertisement coming up. So you like that, did you, Dana? So what really gets me is the humanity. We are so judgmental and self-righteous in respect of who's good and who's bad and what's right and what's wrong, rather than being committed to the relationships that we can have with our shared humanity, with other people who've made grievous mistakes. I'll often say when I'm introducing myself, but for the grace of God, I'd be in here because, hey, I just didn't get caught for what you all did and got caught and are in here. Because I could have been serving, well, I never did kill anyone. That little girl that was looking out through the tray in the hole in the door, she was in jail pending trial for murder. You never know what people can do. We go into these prisons and we see our humanity, our shared humanity, others who have committed offenses, wrongs, harms against others, and yet they still, the same soul, the same humanity, the same desire for life, the same need, and their lives aren't working. And so my commitment has been to be able to provide what allows for people to be responsible, to choose responsibility and accountability for oneself, and to create a life that would be consistent with what they say that they're wanting, what they're needing, that truly fulfills our needs as human beings. So a couple of other things I'll share here in 5 minutes before y'all start asking me questions. Some of the experiential activities that I will have people engage to become more aware of themselves and to develop interpersonal skills for being able to resolve conflict rather than just take it outside or to scrap in the prison and get a DR for violent acting out. I'll use the Johari window to begin with. You familiar with the Johari window, anyone? It's what we know that we know. It's in our awareness of what we think we already know, and that's what we know that we don't know. And then there's the Landmark Education uses it as a wheel of knowledge, but it's derived from a sourced in the Johari window, Joseph Lufton and Johari, anyway, and Harry Ingram. And so It's having them becoming aware of, and that's what is it that about your life that you don't know, and you don't know that, right? So they become aware of loosening up for the possibility of being able to recognize I don't know everything that I think I know. And what is it that I might not know? And so as we go through the content, they begin seeing things about themselves that they weren't even aware was at the source of what choices that they've made in life. I have them become aware of what is it that's not working in their life. Not often do people like to talk about what's going wrong with my life because of shame. We don't want to express that. We want to hide it. So the intention is, after developing the rapport and the trust, is what's not working as well as you want it to be working? Where are you stuck? What are you facing that you feel dissatisfied, unfulfilled, angry, upset? Life's not fair. Whatever that people are thinking, becoming aware of what they didn't know they weren't aware that they are thinking. And then what is it that you're wanting? This is any concern to you? What is it that you are really wanting? What's important to you? What do you care about the most? People often are not even aware of what it is that they care about and why they care about it most. And often we get to the source of what? As I want to be known. I want to be wanted. I want to love. I want to be loved. It's the very source of it all, but we deny that for fear of being rejected or for the conflict that we may confront. And so we get into the very depths of our personal experience. It takes a couple sessions to begin to get there. And then listening skills, I developed intentional listening skills through being able to listen to someone in such a way that they've never been heard before. Can we listen to someone such as they would experience, no one's ever listened to me like this before? That's very interesting. We want people to be interested in us. We want to become interested in them, not to find out things and probe so that we can hold it against them, but simply for others to be known, to have a voice, and to experience as important to someone else. Then we talk about negotiating agreements and committing ourselves to agreements that we make. And inside the program will be established on agreements that are made that everyone will sign off, and that becomes the context for developing, as like in the integrity seminar with Landmark. What are we confronting that we don't do what we say? How do we excuse ourselves? What does it take for us to fulfill on our commitments and be who we say we are and do what we said we would do? What does that provide? I have several different group dynamics listening exercises. Talk about the power of language and use of grammar, like empathic responses, no platitudes, but how to express oneself and acknowledge people, how to be assertive and not be aggressive, stating what needs to be said because of an agreement that was made, and respectful of me, that I wouldn't ignore it, respectful of you and how I address it without judgment and condemnation. Speaking in the passive voice rather than the active voice. Like, you made a mistake, Chris. Now, how does that feel? Oh, no, I'm bad and wrong. How about, hey, Chris, a mistake was made on this report. It's about the mistake. It's not about you. It's that passive voice. It's simple grammar. Because I'm not human. Did I tell you I wasn't human? I'm a grammarian. And so I can go deep into the language, and all of our thoughts and the experience that we have is generated. The emotion is evoked by what it is in the language that we are speaking, that we're saying to ourselves and other people are hearing. Avoiding loaded questions. We load a question with an assumption and we assume it's true, and the other person can't say no. Like, here's a risky statement, because it is violent. But I've seen all kinds of violence in prisons. I could ask Denny. Are you married, Denny? No? You are? You are. Okay. Denny, have you stopped beating your wife? You can't answer that. I could make it a little less volatile and violent sounding. Denny, have you stopped picking your nose? That's kind of gross, right? I mean, he can't say yes. That means he used to be a nose picker. And if he says no, then he still is. So, loaded questions people can't answer, but we use it to manipulate and control and to shame people. So we talk about all kinds of language and communication skills to how to avoid, and then establishing rapport with people when there's a volatile situation of conflict and disagreement. 4 cornerstones I've developed. First is acknowledgement. By rephrasing what someone said, it occurs as being heard. When someone hears that they've been heard, the best way to acknowledge it is not say, "Oh, I understand what you said." No, it's not that. It's rephrasing what exactly that person said, and they know that they were heard. And that's very acknowledging because few people do that in a way that's respectful. Then validate their experience, not validate what they said, like, "Oh, I agree, that should have happened that way. Go ahead and sue me. Take me out." No, it's validating their experience is valid to them and being able to appreciate what it is that they're experiencing and what it means to them. Thank people. Thank them. Thank the person for bringing this to your attention. Now, how can you fight with somebody who's heard you, acknowledged you very powerfully by being able to rephrase what you said, and then validated that your experience was appreciated and thanked you for it? How can you fight with somebody like that? Can't fight with them. And then you express your commitment. Express your commitment. My camera froze, apparently. Let me try this. Oh, great. Things are frozen up for me. Can you still hear me over there?
Yes.
Okay. Can you see me on your end?
Just not moving.
Oh, okay. Well, just pretend. I know how to fix that. Just real. Unplug it and plug it back in here, and let's see if that's going to work now. Try it.
Yep.
There it is. Okay, good. And so then talk about the compass of shame. I'm going to share this with you, so you might want to look this up yourself. It's Nathanson, 1992. It's from Shame and Pride, Affect, Sex, and the Birth of the Self. The compass of shame demonstrates how that with shame being at the source, shame that we would never acknowledge or admit or expose for fear of being shamed, that we send this to everyone. It will express itself in aggression, violence, gossiping, avoidance, alcoholism, addictions, depression, attacking oneself, or withdrawal, avoidance of contact with other people. Also talk about the cognitive self-management and emotional control using the conceptual act model of emotion by Lisa Feldman Barrett. And she wrote a book called, I highly recommend reading it because emotions aren't hardwired like they were thought to be. It's simply it's a cognitive function. So it's what we're thinking and believing true for what we've assumed to be the truth that evokes the emotion. It's all cognitive. It's not hardwired. Something you might find valuable. So The Secret Life of the Brain is worth reading. How to deconstruct and reconstruct our own reality through questioning and challenging our own thoughts and becoming aware of what we believe to be true, that we be thinking what we are. And then also being responsible for our own experiences and not shifting responsibility by blaming other people for what we feel. And so I present content and video material from Dr. Tom Miller. How many times have you ever heard anybody say, or have you ever said, "That hurt my feelings"? You hurt my feelings. That made me mad. This is frustrating me. This guy's boring me to death. We hear it all the time, and it's what people experience as being real. So what I want people to really get, it's like we own our own responsibility for what we're thinking and feeling because we made ourselves feel the way we feel about whatever happened because we didn't like it. We thought it should be different than what it is in our judgment. So how do we manage ourselves and our thinking? Almost no one. People at these seminars around the country, they don't realize it because they'll say, "How many of you said that you told your spouse that they hurt your feelings or made you mad to stop doing it?" That's the source of all manipulation. We can't manipulate people with guilt or shame unless everybody believes that they're responsible for everybody else's feelings. So that's how we are able to manipulate each other. Then I have, between sessions closer to the end, this powerful experiential practice that they take home with them. And then we debrief it the next day. We have a conversation with someone, an interview with someone trusted, most trusted in their life. And this could be on the phone. This, if you're in prison, you have them on a phone call, or maybe someone else in the prison. So you want to first acknowledge that I don't always listen. And that's always the truth, because other people will think, oh, no, you don't. Then what? Promise to listen, make that commitment. Promise to listen unlike you've ever listened before. So you can, or whatever they say in answer to your questions about their experience of you, you're having the opportunity to hear what they say and not get upset about it and blame them for hurting your feelings. So you can stay in the conversation and not bail out. So asking this series of progressively difficult questions. The first one is, what about me do you like? Well, you should know. Well, I sometimes forget, how I might be appreciated. So be vulnerable. What are some things you don't like about me so much? Okay, now there's an opportunity to complain. Now you get to hear the complaints. And now you get friends. I don't like what the person is saying about me. That's not true. It shouldn't be that way. Let me listen and acknowledge and validate their experience, which is valid to them. Thank them for saying so. So I can manage myself in the conversation and not engage in conflict or an argument, a big fight. And then make new commitments. What I might agree then to do differently. But what about me would you like to be different that maybe I couldn't change? I'm too tall, my nose is crooked, one ear is higher than the other. I don't know. So we always hold in mind things about others that we may be less willing to accept because we don't like them. But when the opportunity is for that to be said, it's no longer in the darkness. It's no longer resentment. It's no longer held in, I love you, but but I can never tell you, because that would hurt your feelings. Now it can be said, and I love you anyway. I appreciate you anyway. And then, what have you been afraid to say to me and have withheld? Uh-oh. Like that affair? Like this gets down to the really nitty gritty. To really deal with the issues that have been buried and are never addressed and have to be hidden forever and ever and can never be addressed. So some of the content, and it goes, I could go much longer, but I'm not. So moving forward, I'm wanting to create teams of people in different parts of the country, go into prisons and to provide the training in this to be able to, with integrity and effectiveness, deliver content of this program. So there you go. I'm done talking without anybody asking me any questions. And I took too much time. I acknowledge that. Really?
I have just one curious question. Where is your son now?
He's at the Mayo Correctional Institute Annex. It's in Mayo, south of Live Oak. Where they put prisons out there where nobody lives and nobody ever heard of those towns before. So that's in North Florida. It's west of Lake City on I-10. If you know Jacksonville, Lake City, and then you're going on over Tallahassee's next. So it's south of I-10, about 50 minutes. And he has a chance to be released in June the 25th. The hearing will be scheduled. It's because of his case that the Equal Justice Initiative in Montgomery, Alabama, under the leadership of Brian Stevenson, presented in 2012, I believe it was, before the U.S. Supreme Court that it was unconstitutional under the 8th Amendment to try young children for capital crimes and sentence them to life without parole. And because of his case, and he was the poster child for that case, and there were a few other youths around the country who were also identified in this similar situation. And because of that case, all the states had to rewrite the sentencing guidelines for how young children are tried, adjudicated, and sentenced for capital crimes. So it's amazing what gets created out of the worst of circumstances. That something good can come of that. As I said a long, long time ago when I had hair on, ABC. So, any other questions?
Is he going through your program?
He goes through the program every time we're sitting in the prison and we're having a conversation. He's developed master. He's a master Toastmaster. He's headed up Toastmasters group. It was in Hardy Correctional. He was in DeSoto. He created a chess tournament, a chess club, and taught others chess. He's a masterful artist. He's painted murals on some of the prison walls. He was commissioned to do it. Of course, he don't get paid for it. So yeah, he's done a great deal. He's got his GED. He was 14. He never graduated from high school. Never got to go. Got his GED, and he teaches others what they need for their GED. So how to create a life under such circumstances most of us cannot imagine, although I suspect that there may be a few here who've been in jail or prison. I know that at the conference there were several. So any other questions, Mark? Are you taking questions from everybody?
Oh, no, I'm asking my own questions.
Oh, okay. Does anyone else have any questions?
Well, I'll go.
Okay, Kent.
What discourse or way of being do you see that needs to be altered or given up between the persons incarcerated and the corrections officers?
Oh, you mean like the cops and robbers game that Eric Byrne and Games People Play came up with back in the 70s? Ever read that? Yeah. Cops and robbers. It's that resentment of control, the rebellion against control, and the need to control and dehumanize to control and treat people as less than human. So that's what I see, and I confront that a great deal. It's difficult to find sometimes. People who are willing to alter their perception of who inmates, criminals, who they are. They're just like and I tell you what, some of those COs are more criminal than some of the inmates because they're smuggling the meth and the fentanyl, and they're smuggling it in, make money. My son, when he was at Liberty CI, he has a hit on his head from a Haitian gang because he worked with the warden to break up a smuggling ring in which one of the classification officers and several of the guards were involved, and they were all prosecuted.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm reading a book right now called The Hot House. It's about the Leavenworth prison. I don't know if anybody's read that book or not. But I'm only about 25% in, but there is a warden there who, so Leavenworth is one of the worst prisons in the United States outside of Marion, Illinois. And Leavenworth is in Kansas, but this warden, understands what creates conflict inside his yard. So like one night they were playing a baseball game and the score was tied and the horn goes off at, when the sun gets to a certain point in the building. And so the horn goes off, the game's tied. And so, the inmates just completely break out and distraught because they're so focused on this game and whatnot. So the next night when he's on duty, he just sits back, lets the inning finish, and then sounds the horn. Everybody went to their cells peacefully and didn't create any issue. So I think, seeing a situation and how it can be handled peacefully and respectfully is super important, inmate or not.
Yes, that reminds me of an exercise that was created by Dr. Nathaniel Brandon, who's a psychotherapist, and he has people recognize when I do or when we do this is what happens that we don't want. Then they consider, well, what might we do, or if I were to do, or when I do this differently, now what do we have that we do want? That's exactly what the warden was doing. Rather than following some routine, because that's always the way it's always been done, and we never question or challenge anything.
Correct. And it was the same time that Fidel Castro had wanted his inmates back from Cuba, from the United States, to go back to Cuba. This Leavenworth prison, they decided to have control over the environment, so they let their Cuban inmates know ahead of time, like, hey, we're going to have to put you in the hole for your protection because everybody's going to riot. Other prisons did not, and inmates and guards lost their lives because they did not inform the inmates what was happening and what the plan was. They just let it happen,
That's
and
great.
chaos broke out.
That's great because the Harvard Business Review, you familiar with fair process? It's a restorative practice as well. Fair process, you know what that is? People are informed about what it is that's going to be happening. They don't have a vote. They don't have a veto. They have no say, but they're informed. So they've been respected and they're informed about what to expect. And then they're supported in what it is that's going, what changes will be made or what they will be happening next so that they're prepared for it. It's fair process because people are being respected for their humanity. And when we're not, we feel what? As human living creatures, we're first and foremost concerned about what? All of us, whether we're outside or inside of prison. Survival.
I feel violated.
Yeah. Self-preservation. And so when anything occurs as a potential threat or frustration to self-preservation, what do people do? Act like animals. Well, what do you expect? Karen goes, yeah, exactly. Yes. Thanks for sharing that. Perfect illustration too. Any other questions?
How long have you been running this program? Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, pardon me, Heidi?
I was wondering what your timeline is of getting it out. Do you have the whole plan of training trainers or?
I have, I'm creating the structure for what that would look like. I would have to do that for filing for 501c3 in guidelines for operations and everything. So I've been doing this since 2006, 2007. And just haven't been able to put it into a plan. So whenever an opportunity arises where someone wants to bring me in and I'll lead the program for 8 weeks. I did it at a homeless shelter once, Fifth Street Ministries, for 8 weeks. It was a subject of my action research project and from statistical analysis, with Ikert scales and self-reporting, their documentation. And it was very effective. And so now I need to create the structure and a plan with people to help. Contacting potential groups that would be interested in being oriented, and I hate the word training because that's what we do to dogs, train dogs and give them they do a trick, like speak, oh, good boy, pat them on the head, give them a little treat, training people.
Lamar, I don't want to interrupt you, but you have a hand and we're running short.
Okay, yeah, where's the hand at?
Karen, speak up.
Well, I was going to ask, how long do you see the training to be? Like you have an idea about how long it would take for someone to become ready to deliver?
Depends on how many sessions. It could be done like in a few days. Or if it's time's not available for that, it could be because there'd be very intensive coaching and orientation and development for that. Or it could be, if necessary, over several days in respect of maybe a month. Finding the people who are interested in training them and developing them to develop I've got a PowerPoint presentation. I've got workbooks. I've got surveys. I've got everything already created. It's just a matter of being oriented into administering that.
Because I'm interested in bringing something like that to Texas.
In Texas? Mm-hmm. What part of Texas has that been?
San Antonio.
Oh, I've been in San Antonio.
Well, I'm in San Antonio. I'm also from Dallas, the Dallas area.
Okay.
So
there's no place that you could mention like, oh, I've been there. I've been there.
My son lives in Dallas.
Okay.
He was incarcerated as a teen. So, I just see the potential of this being so great for even young people that are incarcerated.
That would be great. So we could talk about this further, I guess, offline if you want to do that. Mark, you've got all my contact information, right? You can share it with everybody?
Yep.
That will save me time because you know who's here. And then we can talk more. Bridges to Life is another organization with John Sage, who founded it years ago. They've delivered, it's a restorative justice program. It's, I think, 14 weeks. And it's been implemented, delivered the benefit of over 90,000 incarcerated men and women around their country and in 6 foreign countries. So, John Sage has talked to him a few times. He lives in Houston.
Casey,
So it might be
did
someone
you
I could
have a-
connect you with.
Casey, did you have another question or statement?
No, Heidi and Karen got those answers for me. So thank you.
Okay.
Excellent.
Lamar?
Thank you.
Yes.
Oh,
Now, thank you for the
Go
opportunity.
ahead, Tony.
yeah. Lamar, you do this only in person, or do you do a Zoom session also?
It's difficult to do Zoom sessions, and only for this reason. I could train people over Zoom but in person is necessary to work with the incarcerated. Typically, they can't get on Zoom anyway, right?
Oh, yeah. I wasn't talking about that. I was talking about
Yeah.
the training.
Training could be done. It just might. We could do it with Zoom rooms. We can practice some of the pairs or groups exercises that would be implemented in real life in person. You just have to transfer that knowledge and practice with people sitting around with you in the room from a Zoom room to a real room is all. Sure.
Well, Lamar, if you want a partner in setting it all up, I set up 501c3s all the time, and I can
Really?
help you set up the business and the
Oh.
nonprofit. And
Wow. Well, that is really great because you never know when you're going to be blessed. Because it costs like $3,000 or $4,000 to have an attorney, like do it all. I can do it
no,
myself. I just need the guidance.
It should cost under $1,000.
Okay. I'll start saving my money. I'm going to be working on it as well. So,
Great.
and then you do all the writing. And are you in California, right? So I'm in North
No,
Carolina. It
I'm
might
in
be-
New Jersey.
Oh, okay.
So,
Well,
all right.
that
Well,
helps.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Everybody. Dana, did you want to say anything?
Yes, pardon the background noise. I don't have a choice, but I made it today. I'm traveling. But Lamar, thank you for being here. I really appreciate your message. We spent a little time over the conference, and I was enthused that you got to have an opportunity to share what's there. What I would like to really bring this meeting to a close around is, what is your commitment? When we're aligned with the person's commitment, we know what they want, we know what they're up to, and we can leave them without being blamed or faulted. We can hold ourselves responsible for what we don't see in them. And if we know what a person's commitment is, or if we are committed to know another's commitment, then we can move together to make a great change. So I appreciate you for that. There's a team of leaders here who are our Prisons to Partnership, who can glean from what is each other's commitment as we build this organization. What is one another's commitment? And we can move out of personality blame or wrongdoing. So thank you so much for powerfully generating your message tonight. And thank you for being here. I look forward to others aligning with your vision and taking on the training. If possible, if you can, get in contact with Karen directly. I like that Mark can share your contact, but I'd like for the individual who really wants to hear from you, for you to get together sooner than later and get it going. Thank you.
Great. Very good. So Karen, get in touch. It's easier for all of you to get my contact information to reach out than it is for me to reach out to all of you. So I'm leading 2 days of grammar and writing the next 2 days, and then I'm leading, I don't know what it is the next day all day. Managing multiple projects and priorities and so forth. So awesome. Bunch of people here. I love what Dana said about the commitment. So when I ask people in the participants in the program, what they're committed to, that they really want to accomplish, and what are they committed to? So when they're not being their commitment, it's a coaching question, isn't it? What is it that stopped you, that got in the way, distracted you? Or what is it that you're feeling that you're no longer being your commitment? That's a coaching question, right? All right. Yeah, okay. I know my time is up and I'm still talking. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Thank you very much, everybody. Our next community gathering is January 12th. And hopefully we will see you back.